Tonight is day 2 of the Shanghai Cooperation Summit and the world leaders have arrived in Samarkand in Uzbekistan for the meet. The second day of the summit will see heads of states of member nations gather for the main meeting here, which means the leaders of Russia, China, India, Pakistan and the 4 Central Asian nations will be under one roof. Now, the leaders of the 8-nation Shanghai Cooperation Summit are all set to discuss regional security challenges and energy supplies. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Samarkand on Thursday. He will be holding key bilaterals with Iranian, Uzbek and Russian leaders. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to exchange his views on topical, regional and the international issues. During his meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin, the Indian Prime Minister will discuss issues of strategic ability, situation in Asia-Pacific and bilateral cooperation within the United Nations and G20. However, there is still no clarity whether the Indian Prime Minister will hold any bilaterals with the Chinese President. Meanwhile, day 1 of the summit saw a number of crucial key bilaterals taking place, starting with the bilateral between Chinese President and his Russian counterpart. During the meet, the Russian President condemned attempts by the West to create a unipolar world. The Russian President also backed China on Taiwan, asserting on how Moscow firmly adheres to its one China policy. Putin, however, also conceded that Beijing had questions and concerns over the invasion, which is in its 7th month now. China has so far refused to outrightly condemn Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It's not imposed any sanctions on Moscow, but has stepped up economic assistance to its neighbor. Boosting bilateral trade to record levels in a boon to Russian business amid Western sanctions. Meanwhile, the Chinese president told his Russian counterpart that Beijing was willing to work with Moscow as great powers.
面对世界之变、时代之变、历史之变，中方愿同俄方一道努力，体现大国担当，发挥引领作用。 为变乱交织的世界注入稳定性和正能量。
So for more insights on this, we are now being joined by Principal Diplomatic Correspondent Siddhant Sibal and our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik from Samarkand. Thank you, Siddhant and Anas, for joining us on this broadcast. Now, Siddhant, coming to you first. We've seen a number of bilaterals already. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also set to hold bilaterals with Russian President Vladimir Putin. What are some of the key takeaways so far and what can we expect in the upcoming bilaterals?
Well, in the afternoon, the Indian Prime Minister holds 3 bilaterals with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, with the Iranian President and with Uzbekistan's President, who of course is the host of the meeting. Well, the focus of course remains on the Russian bilateral, given the fact that this is the first in-person meeting between the 2 leaders since the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and of course what these 2 leaders will be discussing. Of course, it has been a busy itinerary for the Russian President. He has had number of bilaterals. Yesterday he met the Pakistani Prime Minister, the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Today he meets Turkey's President as well. But largely we know that one of the key focus area of this relationship has been on defense. But since the Ukraine conflict, focus has shifted to energy as well. India has increased its import of Russian energy, cheap Russian energy. So that remains a big pillar of relationship. But eyeballs will be also on whether he meets the Chinese president and the Pakistani Prime Minister.
Right, absolutely, Siddhant. Let's just go across to Anas right now. Anas, thank you so much for staying on with us. We've seen a number of key bilaterals from the Pakistan side as well. What are some of the key takeaways? What can you tell us?
Well, as we speak, I'm right, almost outside the Congress Center. Behind me is where the Congress Center is, where the meeting between the heads of states of the Council of Heads of States of the SCO is to take place. If you can see as well, those flags that are fluttering and flying high, those are of the SCO member countries, and those indicate that is the place where the meetings are to take place. Now, the Pakistani Prime Minister is to hold a meeting with the Chinese President Xi, and as we speak, his meeting with the Azerbaijan counterpart is currently ongoing. Him.
Right. All right, Anas, thank you so much for bringing us all the updates on that. Coming back to you now, Siddhan. Siddhan, as I mentioned earlier, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is to hold bilaterals with Russian President, and geopolitics and trade is going to be on the agenda. Now, what are some other areas where we can see collaboration between the two sides?
Well, India and Russia have time-tested relationship. This is a relationship that spans through various sectors. The Russians have trained Indian astronauts when it comes to the Gaganyaan, or India's manned mission to space. They have helped in nuclear energy, and 1971 war is something that is still remembered in India. So that is why this relationship is something that has seen only ups and ups. And at a time when the world is going through geopolitical flux, we know that this relationship has become a factor of stability. In fact, when it comes to United Nations Security Council as well, Russia has strongly backed India's inclusion for an expanded UNSC, and Russia is keen on a multipolar world, which of course India is also keen on. So there are a number of convergences between the two countries, and of course Russians are and have been pleased with India's position, India's nuanced position when it comes to the Ukraine conflict as well. So largely this is a relationship that is here to stay, and today's bilateral meeting between the two leaders will go a long way in terms of solidification of this relationship. Last year we saw the Russian President Vladimir Putin visiting Delhi, and this year we do expect the Indian Prime Minister travelling to Russia for the annual India-Russia Summit. There is a 2+2 which was inaugurated last year between the foreign and the defence ministers, and this is something that India has only with US, with Australia and Japan, and now with Russia. Only 4 countries with which India has this kind of format. So largely the focus is on how India can take forward this relationship and how Russia can take forward this relationship.
Right. Well, Siddhan, thank you so much for bringing us all the updates on this, and we will of course continue to track all of the developments very closely with you there on ground. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.